I recently bought myself a little metal Dalek from the TV series Doctor Who. It's a sort of goldy bronze colour. I took 3 pictures of it, one from the left, one from the right, and one head on. I cut them out, and just for a bit of fun, I placed them into an image of where I live. It was Walton-on-the-Naze, just to make up a fairly basic composite image, and it was just for a bit of a laugh. I then went on to make a second image where I just used 2 Daleks, but this time I changed the colours of them, and I did also stick an ice cream in one of them, the front Dalek. But as somebody asked me how I'd recoloured the Daleks, now there are many ways to recolour things. I'm just going to show you 3 different ways in this particular tutorial, and obviously it doesn't have to be a Dalek, it can be sort of anything you like. It is better if it is a cutout object like I'm doing here, so you're only affecting one particular object rather than the whole object, the whole image. And it's probably also best to do it onto the actual background that you're going to be using. So you place your object and then recolor it, so you can get the tone and the colors that match the background. But for ease of use, I'm going to do this on a separate document, which is this one here. I have the 3 versions of the Dalek, all on their own separate layers. Let me just turn off these first 2. So I will just be working on this one. So as you can see, I've renamed them. So this one I'm going to be using black and white with luminosity. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click this and duplicate that layer. I'm then going to add black and white adjustment, and then I'm going to click and drag this layer down and make it sort of a group with the duplicated layer that I made of it. Now, as you can see, this has automatically made this into a black and white Dalek, which might be what you're after, but you can sort of change tones and colors by how you move the sliders. Now I'm going to do this to a preset option which I've already done. So it's 20 on the red, minus 28 on the yellow, green was 100, cyan 216, the blue leave on 100, and magenta was 48. Now next thing we need to do is to change the blending mode of this to luminosity. Probably I should have done that first, because then that way you could have seen how the colours were changing. My mistake, sorry. So if I just turn that off, that was the original, and I've changed it to sort of a more reddish metallic colour. So what I would then do is to highlight both those layers there and then just group them together. So you could then, I mean, obviously you'd be doing this on the proper background if you were doing this normally, or you could just copy this and put it into your background. So that is the first way. So coming to the next Dalek, and this time we're going to be using Recolour and Hue. We don't need to make a duplicate copy, we will use this layer itself, but I will use the adjustment of Recolour, which by default is red, but it will change that all to red. But the first thing I'm going to do is change the blending mode from normal to hue. So as you can see, that has only just made that slightly red. and then you can move the hue slider and just go along until you find a color for whatever object that you had, and whatever color that you like. Now the only problem here is this adjustment is also affecting the image next to it, as it would do the background. So what I need to do, and what I should have done, is to click and drag this down and make it part of that layer, so it is only affecting this image and not any other image or background that would have been or is in the picture. So I'm going to leave that at that. So I have my sort of reddish metallic Dalek, and I have my green Dalek. Now the only thing here, let me just close that. The only thing here is that, you know, obviously that green is also affecting the black rim of the bottom of the Dalek, and also the blue light that would be up here in the eye. So what you can do with this, because this is adjustment comes with its own mask, you can get the brush tool and it'll be set on black, and I've got a opacity about 70% and hardness on 4, and then it's just a case of making sure that you are definitely on the mask, just painting over any area that you don't want to be recolored. So I mean, I'm not going to be too fussy here, but if you were doing your own image, you could take your time and then just come up here and do this eye bit here and try and get the bit of that blue light back. Right, so I'm happy with that. Let me just shut that down. So we will move on to the last Dalek one. So I'll make this one visible, and for this one I'm going to be using selective color adjustment. So like before, we come to the adjustments and pick selective color. Now this time I will remember to bring this layer down and place it into this layer, so I'm only affecting this object and not anything else or the background. I'm going to leave the blend mode on normal on this one, but rather than, let me just move this that way, rather than use a, you can pick any color to a change here, but I'm going to go with blacks. You can pick whichever you want and get all sorts of different effects. So the settings I had for mine, I had cyan on 0, magenta on 71, yellows on 71, and blacks on 33. And then I can close that down, and a bit like with this recolor option, it affects the whole image, not just the areas that you may want. So again, it has the mask and it is that layer that is selected. The brush tool is still selected and I've still got the same settings, and black is still the color that is selected. So like before, I will paint onto the mask and bring back the colors that I want to keep. Let me turn the opacity up to 100, it'll be a lot quicker. Right, and then just do the blue eye thing up there. Right, so as you can see, I've got 3 different coloured Daleks using 3 different methods. And like I said, there are other ways of recolouring objects. These are just 3 possible ways. So hopefully this will help you out. So just for fun, let's see whether this works. So let me just highlight that, and I will copy this, and let's paste that in, and then just move it. Let's just hide it and resize that a bit. Right, there you go, just for a little bit of fun, I've added that Dalek in. And so, like I said, if you were doing this properly, you would have done it on the proper background that you were going to do it on, and then you could then go on to do like shading and blending and all that. So basically that is the end of the tutorial. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.